Hi, folks. Welcome to another new segment on Never on the Back Foot, the IWCT show. For the longest time, I wanted to, have a very dedicated segment for women's cricket in India. And what better occasion than this, right? India begins a fresh new chapter as they tour Australia. This is going to be a blockbuster multi-format series, and rest assured, here on the channel, we will be, doing. We're doing a match preview now, but we're also doing a lot of match reviews. Aditi always, giving her encouragement there. But Australia, right? They're entering a new era. They have a newly, all format captain in Sophie Molineux. It's going to be a farewell series for Elisa Healy. Just so many talking points. Uh, India themselves, enter the series on the back of an amazing World Cup win. In case you guys have forgotten about that, just go and watch the highlights, right? It's the first time the team, sort of regroup, so to say, and, playing against Australia down under. I think it's already, making for very mouth-watering clashes in itself, right? So let's get straight into it. Aditi, first things first, like just your overall thoughts, right? Heading into this multi-format series, like how different does this rivalry feel, right? I think there was a lot of discourse on social media about this video where Grace Harris was sort of, picking on Harman, and like all of that was happening. A lot of fans were like, left with a bitter taste in their mouth itself. But then again, just focusing on the series itself, we're looking at three T20Is, three ODIs, and a one day-night test itself, making this a very comprehensive multi-format series, right?
Definitely. I think considering like from the time like women's cricket, at least I have started watching women's cricket for a really long time now. The gap between Australia and the other teams has always seemed like something which is too wide to bridge. It has seemed like there is like Australia is there, and then the other teams are like here. So, like there are multiple levels above other teams, but I think as time is passing, like yeah, they might have I think it was Ash who said that I think we've just lost like two games in the past 18 months, but they were games which really counted. So I think teams have been having a feeling that Australia is not that unbeatable anymore, especially India. And I think the team this time is a lot more salted than last time. So I think overall we should be having a banger of a series. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% right. I think the interaction that both the captains had with the broadcaster and even Ash Gardner, right, a very honest admission of sort of not being like salty or sad about not getting captaincy itself, but being really happy for Sophie Molineux. We will talk about that whole captaincy aspect too, right? But yesterday we actually had the Governor General's 11 take on, the Indian team itself. Again, like what were your takeaways from that match? Or we should probably avoid reading too much into warm-up results. I know India started the series on a very happy note, like winning the match, getting a lot of things right. Shriyanka amongst the wickets, Priti Mandana doing her thing as well. But again, like have you had a chance to catch up with the highlights and just make some observations there?
I think you shouldn't really put too much stock into warm-up matches. I personally believe that, like, that it's just a time to, for both teams to try out new combinations, what works for them, what doesn't. And I actually just, read a couple of things about Shreyanka and Smriti, as you said, like, and I mean, yeah, I think winning the warm-up match might give Indians like our team a bit of a boost, but I think in the grand scheme of things of what is yet to come, I think Australia being the topmost team in women's cricket, along with it being their home ground, is like a deadly combination who are almost like unbeatable. So I think we'll have to see how things unfold.
Yeah, Aditi, ensuring, we're all not getting ahead of ourselves, right? Because Australia on home conditions, the head-to-head they have versus India is just, again, as an Indian fan, would definitely make for some really sad reading. But let's probably start our conversation with the T20I series itself, right? Now, here's where we see the Sophie Molineux era, right? She begins her captaincy tenure in the T20s. Now, again, like what really stands out to you, about her appointment itself, the challenges that come with starting against India, because you've seen, right, how injuries have plagued a great chunk of her career. She's captain Melbourne Renegades in 2024, led them to a title win as well, but she's definitely not a front runner for captaincy, right?
I think she was the dark horse there. I think 90% of the people expected Ash to become the captain, or even Tahlia. If not for her, I think dip in recent form. Like, yeah, I mean, she has been the stand in captain for Alyssa whenever she was out with injuries. And I also read that Annabelle Sutherland and Phoebe Litchfield have played more matches for Australia than Sophie Molineux. So, considering all of that, it was definitely a dark horse kind of choice. But I think also that I mean, they have definitely seen something in her which they think is very enterprising, promising. And I also think age was a factor. Like, she was the youngest ever person to captain a, WBBL team and lead them to victory as well. So I think definitely she has a very calm, kind of cool, collected presence, which I think made her a front runner. But as to how she takes advice and consults the senior players in the team, and especially with Ash and Talia being co-vice captains, and how that dynamic will work out, I think that is something we will still need to wait and watch. And I think Ash also expressed her views that, of course, she was a bit sad that she didn't get the captaincy, but at the same time, she was very happy for Sophie and she would do anything she could to help her, of course, certainly. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a transition period for sure. So I think if there was a better time for India to capitalize in Australia, I don't see it. Like, this is our chance. Like, yeah, honestly, I feel that. And do you think that Neha? Don't you think that like basically under like the previous time we went to Australia, we didn't have like a well set, well formed team? Like, what do you think about that?
No, I mean, thank you for the question, though. Like, in general, I think we were discussing this off record as well. That when you look at the whole matchup with India and Australia, like Australia does seem like a very commendable team, but they've managed to pull off some very special wins in the recent past itself. But I feel like this time around the team looks much settled, right? Even in the WPL, when you saw most of the players, again, this is just coming from like a very armchair observation. They look much relaxed, like this, the weight of their shoulders, sort of thing. Now, again, going to Australia, right? It's going to be a massive challenge, and I think yeah, they seem to have embraced it, right? Even when you listen to Harmanpreet Kaur, the kind of statement she made in that pre-match presser itself, it's like again coming from a place of confidence. Like, the girls are in good energy, the vibe is there. They've done a lot of camps and all of that, regrouping as world champions. Again, mind you, they defeated Australia in the semi-final, so that's probably still running in their mind. The fact that Sophie Molineux herself, right, brought it up in the conversation that we will be looking to sort of avenge that, not in the exact words, but again, she sort of alluded to it. But excited to see how her captaincy tenure plays out. But India definitely looks like a stronger unit than they did, the last time they played the ODI series, a very forgettable ODI series that we're absolutely not going to talk about. But I think a point that you brought into, right, when you were discussing about Sophie Molineux, was the fact that she has Ash Gardner and Tahlia McGrath as the joint vice captains. I don't remember the last time we had joint vice captains. Now, again, do you think here Australia is probably moving towards a more like distributed leadership model post Adisa Healy, because it's going to be like challenging times, and you need someone to sort of ensure you get across safely to the shore. And who better than this leadership group itself, right?
I think the Australian board, the appointment committee, like they have taken into consideration that Sophie Molineux has had a long history of injuries, and it's not like once you become captain, you suddenly stop getting injured. Like, so I think it makes sense for them to have like backup options as well. Like, and uh, I think personally, like it was also kind of like a consolation prize that they didn't really know how to select between Ash and Talia for and most people probably felt that they were the front runners as well. So and I don't think like they actually view it as a very strict hierarchy. I think they are the kind of players who will contribute and lead, like no matter what position, whether they're given it or not. So I think as a group, I think Ash herself put it in her own words that yeah, all of them have different strengths and they can probably help Sophie out like wherever required. And especially it can be challenging being a bowling captain, right? Like we don't generally see a lot of those. And so I think there'll be valuable inputs from both sides. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because again, Australia is not the kind of team where, you'd see captaincy being some sort of a hurdle for, players to step up, contribute, and actually be a part of that leadership group itself. But again, let's just probably cut to the chase and talk about the squad itself, right? Because squad wise, we see some very interesting selections. Nicola Carey gets her return ticket back to the squad, which makes her just great reading. And the fact that she let go of that contract sometime back to just focus on domestic cricket because she was clear, man. I don't want to carry waters. I don't want to warm the bench. I want to be a part of that team. And she's sort of, worked her way up there. Alana King's omission as well, right? Again, when you just look at the makeup of Australia's squad, it's just the direction they intend to take heading into the World Cup. Like, yeah, just what do you make of the squad, like, for Australia?
I think Australia has always been like a powerhouse of cricket anyway. So I think they have so much talent that they can't really go wrong. But also, I also feel sorry for Alana King that she couldn't find a place in the squad because she hasn't done much wrong. And but I think Sophie was a natural replacement for her in a way, like especially with her being given captaincy and everything. So yeah, and I think also they took into fact that she has led Victoria, right, in that this thing in the another league in the domestic league. So yeah, like I think they just took into fact that as well, and mainly focused on her T20 potential or aptitude while selecting her for the captaincy, considering the World Cup is coming up. So I think a lot of the focus is on that. And yeah, what do you think about the upcoming World Cup, and how will the series like show a lot of I don't know, direction for where we are heading, or like what do you think?
I'll probably address your question in two parts itself, right? When you look at a team like Australia, most of the squad literally just picks itself, right? It's not like, oh, we have to put so much effort, homework, and be like, oh, do this permutation combination and find the right kind of squad. It's a squad that just has absolute champions and superstars itself. Another problem for Australia has been, especially under Shelly Nitschke, right? Their head coach itself, the fact that they haven't won an ICC event, right, in the longest time. And I think that's something that's really, really weighing on them. They've come so close. 2024 T20 World Cup, they lost in the semi-final to South Africa. This ODI World Cup, they lost to India as well. So somewhere that hurdle of knockouts pressure is getting to them. This is not something you'd really associate with Australia, right? They've always found ways to come out of the hole. 2017 ODI World Cup is something they talk a lot about, the impact it had on them, and how after that they won like ICC titles literally for fun itself, right? So I'd say the makeup of the squad really looks good. The direction that they intend to take heading into the T20 World Cup also seems to be an interesting one, right? Because Alisa Healy has made it very clear, boss, I'm retiring. It's time for you to, look at someone new, and quite rightly so, right? The succession plan seems to be happening. The fact that she's still going to be playing this too, so she can add her valuable insights and input to Sophie Molineux, and most of the Aussies too, right? The fact that they play so much franchise cricket like around the globe in India, like more prominently in the WPL, just gives them that understanding and exposure to conditions, right? So yeah, again, a very long answer to what you asked, but I really think like they honestly are shaping really well, and just yeah, fingers crossed that we get to see some really good matches. Hopefully not one-sided stuff, right? At least like that's the hope. But Aditi, again, just let's talk about India's T20 squad, right? Like again, how do you think like the batting and the bowling department is shaping up? Because some very interesting choices there, and for the first time, I think the squad announcement didn't invite like a lot of criticism. It was announced like somewhere midway in the WPL, and fans were like happy about it.
Yeah, I think that is more of a role based selection this time. Like definitely you can see that in the way the squad has been picked. It's not like okay, they play well, so let's blindly pick them 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 right. Like this time it has been definitely a more okay, who do we think can actually slot into this role which we have in mind. Like, and for T20 there is no denying that just like the men's game has totally transitioned into power hitting and just bludgeoning everything, women's game I think is also going there. Like it's going to a place where hit as much as you can, go as hard as you can, post the like sometimes you might fail, but in the end what matters is like getting those big scores so that you can kind of have you can just back up your bowlers, or like yeah, in the case of the setting team. And I think the mentality is also that we can do everything, we can chase anything, we can that newfound confidence trust, belief, whatever you might want to phrase it as. Yeah, I think all of that is there. So I think it makes a lot of sense, especially Bharti Fulmali being added. That was like a very, you know, surprise pick maybe for people, but I think it makes a lot of sense, especially considering that she can do a lot. Like if she's striking the ball well, like yeah, I mean, she has a lot of power that can be utilized really well. So I think in a finisher kind of role, she could be really good. And then picking up of Vaishnavi Sharma, for example, and even Sayali Satkere in the test squad. So, like, yeah, I think WPL has also shaped how the selection committee has looked at these choices and considered them. So, I think mainly overall it's a very it's a thing to be happy about, that people are not blindly choosing based on pedigree or like how they're played. And if you just see the test squad as well, like there are a couple of people who are there who aren't in the T20 at all, like for example Harleen, like she and you can also see a clear shift from that anchor kind of role by not selecting Harleen in the T20 spot. Like uh, I mean, she's a great player. Okay, she showed us what she could do after that whole Abhishek Nair debacle. But I, she what she really likes is to like take her time and settle into her innings and kind of play that. She's not really known for power hitting as per se, and I think. Her exclusion itself speaks volumes about what was going on in the selectors' heads, that yeah, we want to move to a power hitting 200 strike rate, every person playing at a 200 strike rate kind of uh, squad kind of team. So yeah, and unless you outbat Australia, like let's say you're setting it outbat, like it's not happening. You are not going to win, especially in down under. So yeah, I think there have been some great selections all around. And yeah, what do you think our ideal T20 squad will T20 team will look like? The first playing 11 will look like.
Yeah, I mean, great question there to probably start off by looking at India's squad itself. I think it looks very wholesome and well rounded. It's fair to say that I think a lot of selections were shaped by how the WPL itself played out, right? The fact that Bharti Fulmali gets a call up after 2019, right? She's been like, just working so hard, just grinding it away in the domestic circuit, and to finally get recognized because of her performances in the WPL. Now, after selection, like little bit decline and all happened, but then you have to take that into account. The fact that she's still, being looked at as someone who can be considered, I think is again a great sign. Now, I think the question that you've asked is definitely a $1 billion one, right? Like, how does India's ideal playing 11 sort of shape up? We can probably address this together. Let's see how it works. See, to open, obviously, you have the likes of Smriti Mandana and Shefali Verma. They definitely have to make the cut, right? With Pratika, again, there are concerns about like injury. Will she make it in time and all of that? So probably we'll have to check that. So at least we're a lock-it for the openers. Yeah. At number three, I'm
Uh,
probably looking at Jemima. Like, I think this would be like the ideal entry point for her. For the longest time, I think most of us have vouched for this, but it hasn't happened. So Jemima at number three, lock in for you.
Same. Yeah, 100% agree. I think that the number three is one of the most hardest positions to play in T20 cricket, but I think Jemmy can take it on. Like, I genuinely feel she has the complete uh, potential to rock this. So, yeah, Jemmy, yes.
Yeah, so Jemmy's a login at number three. At four, we obviously have skipper Harmanpreet Kaur. No two ways of looking at that. So that sorts
She
our
just picks
top four.
herself. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Now comes the interesting conundrum of number five, right? You obviously want to save someone like Richa, Deepthi, and all of them for later. So here's where do you think probably India would be tempted to have someone like a Bharti Fulmali maybe, or is it too early of an entry point for her?
According to me, I actually wouldn't at this point like include Bharti Fulmali in my playing 11. Like I wouldn't say that she's a starter. I would actually go for Amanjot. Like considering the pitches of Australia, where there is so much bounce and pace and a pace favoring wicket, and Amanjot can bowl these amazing cutters, which can be super effective. We saw that in the World Cup as well. So I think. She'd be a great addition, and and she's no mug with the bat. I mean, she can pitch in.
Oh, yeah.
So I think depending on the situation we are in, we can either send Aman or Richa at 5. Like if we have lost a few early wickets, then send Aman, kind of build a partnership kind of role, and then, or if we are already at a good level and we just need some back end power hitting, send Richa. So yeah, I think we are.
Fine, yeah, I think for the sake of the discussion, we'll probably go in with Aman at 5. We can have Richa coming in at 6. Deepti can be your number 7. Shreyanka again makes the cut as your number 8 there.
Yeah, so this is like a tough decision. Like, experiences, Sneh Rana can also do an equally good job. Like, I mean, especially in the last series down under, she was golden. Like, she did really well. Like, especially, uh, no, actually, especially in the last test, I think I'm remembering against Australia, which we played in 2023, I think, 2023 December. Yeah. So I think in that test, she was a standout performer. Like I mean, she has a wealth of experience, obviously, and Shreyanka has also recovered from injury. One other thing which concerns me is her WPL performance. It was not up to par, according to me, and so it's a very hard decision to make. I mean, both of them are great, like no doubt about it, and we do need one spinner there. But yeah, maybe I would give both of them a chance and see what works. Yeah, like alternate them.
Yeah, possible. So I think again, for the sake of the discussion, let's probably put Sneh Rana / Shreyanka Patil, because you obviously need that one spinner. So that pretty much completes 8 slots in our playing 11. Renuka, Arundhati again make the cut for you, or are you slightly tilting towards Kranti because of the kind of pace she brings in against surfaces that could really sort of favor her?
I would actually pick all three of them actually, and just end up with two spinners. We have Deepthi and either Sneh or Shreyanka, and I would just be okay with that. Like considering Australian pitches and how much they favor pace and bounce, and uh, anyone can have a bad day. I mean, Renuka or Kranti are not really bowling to their line and length, then we would need that kind of extra pacer, I think. So yeah, I would definitely pick. I think I would pick all three of them. So
That's a very interesting pick. So, I mean, yeah, that pretty much does, I think, complete the playing 11. Although Vaishnavi Sharma and Sri Charni are looking at us from one corner and being like, what have we done wrong to, not be a part of that setup? But again, I think it's going to be very conditions dependent. For the longest time, India has gone in with like a very spin heavy combo and had like just two pacers operating at the other end. But if, based on what you were suggesting, that they go in with the three pacer strategy, well, yeah, it's going to be quite the gamble, right? With Kranti, Renuka, and Arundhati. Uh, and you already have Aman up there, right? So we'll really have to see, how it plays out. But yeah, folks, at least that was our attempt to, sort of build a playing 11, although we just went on a lot of tangents there. But yeah, at least that's how we see, the team shape. And the fact that we have so many options, right? This is not, again, like a playing 11 we are convinced with. We still feel like, oh, there can be some room for improvement, bring in this player, that player. But yeah, Aditi, let's probably talk about the ODIs now, right? Now, again, let's start it on an Aussie note itself, right? Like, what do you make of Australia's ODI squad? Again, not a lot of changes from that World Cup squad itself, and Alisa Healy will be, skipping this ODI leg. Now, again, how emotional, strategically significant is this sort of a farewell phase for Australia?
I think it's going to be like a swan song for her at the end of a glorious career, a swan song, and playing against arguably the second best women's team in the world. Like, so yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, I'm an Indian fan, guys. So yeah, I mean, I think definitely it's going to be a very emotional kind of period. Obviously, like one of your greatest ever captains, players, batters is going to be playing her last match. So it will definitely be hanging there, like emotional, and I think Australia will be even more charged up if that's possible. They will want to win it for her, like that kind of vibe. But yeah, I think there is not much which Australia need to change, honestly. I mean, every time they've lost a game, it's because of one or the other outstanding performance from some player. Like they go above and beyond and perform in a way which is not at all expected. Like be it Wolfhard in that semi-final against during South Africa time, be it Harmanpreet in 2017, be it Gemini most recently in just 2025. So yeah, all the time to beat Australia, you need someone to play out of their skin, like, and they don't need much change. Like when they're still the top team in the world. So yeah.
Yeah, undeniably that's the strongest team, right? Because even coming into the 2025 World Cup, a lot of us had already pegged them as favorites, right? Again, just the philosophy that they come in with, of just being so dominant every single time. Again, Aditi, are the specific players you're just looking out to in this ODI squad? Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing someone like a Beth Mooney and Phoebe Litchfield, right? Both of them just make batting look really, really fun. Their favorite opposition also being India itself, Georgia Wall herself, right? Coming off of a WPL win and all, like, full champion stuff. So, any specific names you're looking forward to seeing in this ODI side of things?
I think Phoebe is like has so much talent that it's almost unbelievable. Like she's super talented, and I think for many of the Australian players, like quite a few of them, not many of them, but quite a few of them who, like are seeing Alyssa's retirement. I think that's something which will kick things off in their heads as well. Like perhaps Elise Perry, and yeah, they've been around for a long time, and yeah, like it's going to be definitely like a kind of handing over the baton kind of series for them. But there are like quite a few. I think everyone, the Australian team is like an all-star team. So I think I am just praying that please don't score too many runs. Please just get out. I don't care if it's a stupid way or a non-stop. Just get out. Yeah. So yeah, I think. Annabelle Sutherland is another name which I'm like yeah definitely going to be looking out for. I mean, in the World Cup she was magnificent. Like there's no two ways about it. She I think is the number one all rounder for me. Like she rates as the number one all rounder. So in ODIs, I don't think you can find better than her. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the
that's
fact
my
that we just came up with so many names, right? Australia, again, as you rightly said, is just a champion side, which is just reeks of so many superstars. So it's difficult to take one name. But I think one notable omission when you look at this ODI squad of Australia's is that Megan Shoot, right? She missed the ODI squad. And you have newer options coming in. Nicola Carey has been chosen. You have Darcy Brown as well. Again, Australia quietly entering like a transition period, especially in that bowling side of things as well. And probably this is a series where we'd see a lot of that play in.
definitely. I think at some point, like yeah, you reach that phase, right? Like where you the same thing happened in 2017 as well. I think when they lost the semifinals against us, I think they took a good hard look, and that was when like Sophie Molineux and a lot of other new talents came up as well. So I think this is like a similar phase for them. Definitely, they are looking to switch things up and try out new younger newer faces, and that's good. That's a really good opportunity for a lot of young talent to come up and prove themselves. I think both Australia and India, the main thing you see in both sides is that young talent, like there is quite a bit of priority on young talent. So yeah, like I'm really pleased about that. Whom do you want to see on the bowling side of things when it comes to Australia? Like, whom do you think you should keep an eye out for?
I think there's just so many options there, right? The fact that Australia is blessed with such a beautiful crop of all rounders. I think like at least I would love to see Annabelle Sutherland, right? Annabelle Sutherland and Elise Perry, both of them were missing in action, during the WPL, for personal reasons and everything. I think they'll be really fresh. Elise Perry herself, did play the Super Smash, was bowling and looked, getting back in that groove and all of that. So at least I'm looking forward to seeing these two. And even Nicola Carey, right? The fact that she comes in with the whole multi-dimensional aspect that she's not a one-dimensional player. She can chip in with the bat and the ball. I think she's a definite lock-in in that Australia playing 11. So just very excited to see how she operates with the ball. And so it'll be emotional for her, right? Just coming back to this Aussie side and possibly making the cut for the playing 11 and just being able to contribute, right, in both the departments. So just looking forward to that. Even Ash Gardner, man, in the WPL, we did see glimpses of promise, like with the bat. But again, with the ball, right? the fact that she always manages to get a certain left-handed batter out might not leave a lot of RCB fans happy in the stream, but we know, the kind of impact that she has. So at least from bowling front, I definitely say, looking forward to this. But Aditi, let's probably even talk about India, right? Again, let's get your thoughts on India's ODI squad, because it's fair to say, again, when you look at India's post World Cup squad selection, you can clearly see that they've probably moved from this whole philosophy of picking a best playing 11 to sort of building a role ecosystem. There's proper role clarity. Now, again, like, do you feel like India's ODI squad looks like much more settled, or are there still like one or two positions up for grabs, considering all things?
I think we are in a good place, like a pretty good place, considering that we just won the World Cup as well. I think our batting is mostly sorted specifically, but in the bowling department, yeah, I mean, there could be a bit of a potential transition phase which we could be seeing there as well, like younger Sri Charani, Kranti taking over more older, experienced roles. And the main thing, what happened in the previous ODI series we played in Down Under, was that we had horrible. What can I say? We had horrible clarity. Like there was no clarity in the opening at all. Like, and that is like the most important part of your innings. Like you need to build a good partnership. And I don't know, like there was some crazy experimentation going on, and Australia is not the place to experiment. I mean, if you go there and you want to win, and it's hard enough as it is without adding experimentation to the mix. So um, I think this time we are a lot more settled, and definitely I think we would want to take revenge for everything Australia have done to us seriously. Like they came to India and beat us just before the World Cup. I mean, yeah. So I, if we relive every one of our losses against Australia, this is going to take a really long time. So I'm just going to say this is going to be like a revenge series for us, and I think there will be a lot of good fights, and we won't be so meek and just succumb to Australia anymore. Like we are a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Not Aditi sounding like Star Sports there, that India is coming in with this whole vendetta and like, whole revenge strategy. So as to exact revenge from Australia. But like in all fairness, right? Again, to just sort of look at India's ODI squad further, Kashmi Gautam is back in the mix, right? Again, like what role do you think she could play in balancing India's team attack? Because we look at the squad, there's like proper, you have proper pacers in the likes of Kranti Gaud, you have Kashmi Gautam, Renuka Singh as well. You have Amanjot Kaur. So at least that pace department, right? Unlike last time, which was probably going through that whole experimentation phase, looks much more settled thanks to the addition of Kashmi.
100%. I think also Kashmi has bowled like pretty well during the WPL as well. So I think she'll definitely be given a chance to come out and try something. So I certainly hope that she's you know uh, yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of pressure going to Australia, playing against the best team. But the way they handle themselves there will tell a lot about how prepared they are and how eligible they might be. Like even like for example, Kashmi is in the ODI squad but not in the T20 squad. Maybe she should. She's there in the T20 squad as well. Okay. No, right? Huh. Yeah, that's what I think. I think if she performs like really well, maybe she could be considered seriously there as well, like for a T20 role as well. So yeah, let's see how it works out. Like I think she has been doing really well, like with her performances. So I think she will definitely be considered and given a chance. What are your opinions on Renuka Neha?
Oof. With Renuka, it's honestly a tough one, right? Someone who constantly just blows hot and cold. We see phases of her doing well, and it just, there's a decline. And the past few months haven't been kind to her, right? The fact that India sort of understanding how their pace bowling things are stocking up, so they were, sort of resting her. She's doing well, was benched for a while. It didn't really help because then injuries also, not doing enough justice. In this WPL, right? She's so wavered with her line and length. It was an absolute travesty, just seeing her get smashed left, right, and center. I think this is a common criticism as well, right? That a lot of RCB fans had with her that why are you bowling, that same wide length deliveries, and it's just such a absolute pain to watch in that regard. And
100%. So many extras. Like the sheer number of extras she gives, like yeah, just frustrates people. And what do you think about her, like being the senior lead pacer of the team? Like
I
what
mean, for
sort
the
of a
longest
role?
time, Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I think India was looking at that, lead pacer, so to say, after Jhulan Goswami. And Renuka did give some answers in that regard, because I think there's a lot of like hit and miss opportunity sort of thing happening with Shika Pandey itself. So, Renuka became that go-to bowler, but right now, she's 30, and probably India is, at least the team management is looking at like newer options. And with Kranti Gaud, right, like she broke onto the scene in the past edition of the WPL this time around too, right? We saw the kind of return she had. Arundhati Reddy too, right? Does well, is dropped, and then like they just very use her in a very bizarre fashion itself. I think the onus of India's bowling will be on Renuka Singh Thakur, but very interested to see how India uses her and how her match fitness is looking at, right? Because we're again talking about Australia, conditions are going to be that challenging. But either way, I think Renuka would be a sure starter, right? Because having inexperience in your pace attack is not the way to go. So at least probably the first 2-3 games, I think, okay, there's just 3 matches. Probably at least the first game or so, they would probably assess and see how things are panning out, and then take it from there. But Aditi, again, just furthering our discussion itself, like when you look at India's record in Australia itself, it hasn't been great historically, as much as we denied not talk about it. Now again, what do you think must change, right, tactically, for them to succeed in those conditions? There's obviously a proper mindset change now. This is a World Cup winning side, but then again, have you probably given it a thought of what could potentially change?
I think when you go in with the mindset that they are like one league ahead of you, like there's a team which is like so far above you that you can't even dream of reaching up to that level. I think it naturally becomes a very hard thing to process mentally itself. It's like you're already half defeated by the time you go there. But I think this time around, like as Harman has said, as Smriti has said, like they're just positive. They're like, we can do this, we can do anything. So I think the World Cup win has definitely changed a lot of things from that point of view as well. And I think tactically, like earlier, as we already discussed, like there was a lot of experimentation going on. So I think this time, since this role-based selection and judging each player based on what are their strengths and how the pitch is behaving, and specifically what they're suited to, and picking those players specifically for the match, and not kind of going in with that preset 11, like preset XI that you think always works best. And there is no like one formula for every match. Like, I mean, it's very dependent on the conditions, and making proper choices with I, I mean, I think making proper bowling changes at the right time, maybe being more aggressive, more experimentative, and trying some new things, especially with the spinners, etc. And Shreyanka is an attack bowler, right? Like having an attacking bowler like her try her best. Like even if you get hit for a few runs, it's fine as long as you pick up 2 wickets. So I think that kind of mindset will help us a lot, especially against such a dominant side like Australia. And I mean, their powerhouses in both batting and bowling, right? And their all-rounder core is like super strong, which is what makes them such a threat. So if you are not equally aggressive against them, there is no hope of like winning. So need to try something new, kind of try and surprise them and push them out of their comfort zone. And you know especially with more analysis going on, I think they should depend on that and be more well equipped with a clear plan for each batter. And don't you think that analysis is playing like a huge role these days in like how teams are picking? And what do you think, what are some matchups which you think will be exciting to see?
Yeah, Aditi, I think you asked a great question there. I think data and analytics have played a massive role, right? Not just in, it started like at least in the world of men's cricket, but has percolated and found its way in women's cricket too, right? RCB did release a couple of videos sort of outlining their auction strategy itself, and they spoke about the role, that data and analytics played there. This is just an example of a franchise using it, but this is the Indian team we're talking about. They obviously, do have like so many traveling analysts with them that sort of makes the difference as well. Because when you look at the learnings that India had to take from that last ODI series itself, the fact that they lost wickets in clumps, playing very conservative brand of cricket, and again just the batting order, being shuffled here and there every match didn't really help the cause itself. So I'm sure those learnings would probably be aided by data sort of driving the narrative too. Uh, Yeah, I think probably what we can do as like a next part. Oh yeah, your question was about the matchups itself, right? Yeah, excited to answer that actually. Probably Smriti Mandana versus Ash Gardner, right? As much as we talk about the impact that both of them have on like subcontinent, the the rivalry, so to say, they have on subcontinent conditions. Interested to see how that plays on Aussie shows itself. And probably Kranti Gaud versus Alisa Healy, right? I know a lot of people are like, no, 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 it's as I say, it's not a matchup and all. But the fact that she's managed to make Alisa Healy her bunny, right, dismissed her so many times in that series that served as a precursor to the World Cup itself. I think that's going to be an interesting one. And Darcy Brown, right, versus Shefali Verma. Shefali Verma has a tendency to like come down the ground and just like smash it all over the park. But Darcy Brown with her swing and seam can really make things quite challenging. But again, Aditi, like, do you have any matchups that you're looking forward to?
I think Smriti versus Ash is a classic. I think everyone has that in mind. I think everyone is just like, okay, who will triumph this time at this point? Like, I mean, I think Smriti also has that in mind, that like she has mentioned a couple of times about wanting to attack Ash a lot more, and kind of, yeah, I don't know how she manages to get Ash out, like how she manages to get out to Ash every single time. Like she has her number, so it's like Djokovic said after winning against Sinner, I think it's time she changed her number and kind of no, yeah. So yeah, that's definitely one. And interesting matchup about Darcy Brown, which you mentioned. I am not. Yeah, I think Shefali against like Annabelle Sutherland, if she comes out to kind of as a matchup to Shefali, which generally she's used in the middle overs, I know, which is not really the this thing, but I think that could be a very interesting kind of play, like how Shefali could against that bounce which comes up, and how she would react to that. I think potentially it could make her uncomfortable, or she could just hit it out of the park. So it's like either a hit or miss for me. So yeah.
Yeah, proper case of go big or go home with Shefali Verma. Again, this is a mature Shefali Verma we're talking about, right? In the WPL, we didn't really get to see her exploits or her strike rate being in excess of like 120, which is quite shocking, right? This is Shefali Verma we're talking about. Probably a 2.0 version that, wants to sort of bide her time and, assess conditions and then go berserk. But one last bit, Aditi, before we move on to the test side of things, like let's probably pick our ideal playing 11 for India itself, right? Again, quite the mouth-watering like prospect in itself, right? This is again a champion side we're talking about, part of it being retained in the squad itself. So again, your picks for the openers, no surprises there. Drum rolls with Smriti Mandana and Shefali Verma.
Yeah, no surprises. But I think Pratika did a great job in the World Cup, so she's not one to be discounted. So I'm not sure how things are going along with her injury and stuff. So I think maybe it could still be Shefali and Smriti in the top, because of how like how much their styles like contrast and complement each other. Like one likes to go big, one likes to play the cool, calm, collected kind of role. I think it will be similar to Grace Harris and Smriti, in fact. So it could be a good this thing. And during matchups, we forgot to talk about Shefali's newfound bowling skills. So yeah, I guess she could be a matchup against quite a few Aussie batters as well. Yeah, so definitely coming back, Shefali and Smriti. Then
At number 3,
one more
now,
would be
are we looking at Harleen there? Yeah.
Harleen. Yeah, I was thinking that. So one down, I was looking at Harleen because she has shown that ability to kind of
Anchor.
stick it out. Exactly, anchor. And I think that role kind of suits her. Like, let's say we lose a wicket early, she can come in super handy. And I don't think sending Jemmy that early during a 50 over game makes a lot of sense. So I think Harleen at number 3.
And 4 and
So
5, Harman and Jemmy, again, a lock-in.
of course, yeah.
Okay, that is sorted. And yeah, number 4, number 5. At number 6, probably Richa again makes the cut there for you.
Yep, definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. And I think after that, we can probably have Deepthi, Sneh. Or again, are we going to be in the conundrum of Sneh / Shreyanka there?
This is a very difficult. I think depending on how she does in the T20s, like Shreyanka will be judged as well, like into like the ODIs, and she might really not be fit enough to play a 50 over game yet, like in such long spells. So that might count
Snake.
against her. Snake,
Hmm.
yeah. Mm.
Probably Snake. And I just realized we have to slot in Amanjot somewhere too, right? So does
Correct.
she come in somewhere there too?
7 Amanjot, 8 Deepthi maybe. So we have
Possible.
batting till 8. So yeah,
Yeah. And I don't think any of us would complain about batting depth, down under, right? So that's still a
exactly.
good sign. That picks what, almost seven, eight slots in our team so far?
8 slots. So if we count Sneh, also 9 slots. Huh.
Oof, okay. That leaves us with probably Kranti and Renuka to round things off, at least on the bowling front.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't think of a way
Uh,
of how we can slot in someone like a Sri Charni or Vaishnavi Sharma in
ex-
this scheme of things, no?
exactly. True. I think either we lose a top order batter, either we take out Hurleen and bring in someone who is more spin attacking like Charani. But I think it's always good to have more pace,
Yeah. And that's
especially
why I
in
was
the
just
attack.
thinking like Arundhati too, right? The
Ashleigh,
last time. Arundhati, right?
and
Again, she's
Arundhati.
someone we can consider. But there's only so many slots you can have in the team. And she did so well last time down under too, right? Yeah, it's going to be quite the
Exactly,
challenge, I think.
exactly. Maybe, yeah, like two specialist pacers in down under is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So the only other option is remove Harleen and slot in Arundhati, and she can, kind of contribute more with the bat lower down. Like after
Yeah,
Amanjot, like I
yeah.
would say, push everyone up by one, and then
One. Hmm.
hmm, bring
Yeah,
in
that's probably something
Arundhati.
India might consider. I think this was a train of thought that even Akshay, back in our cricket.com days was watching for, have Amanjot come in at 3 or have Deepti come in at 3, right? Because they sort of take their time and anchor the innings to ensure that happens. But let's take a few live chat comments as well. Hari Prasad, friend of the podcast, says, I think Pratika opening with Smriti would require Smriti to accelerate more, which is a little different to what she usually does. Seen it in the World Cup quite a few times, not too ideal, honestly. And we've seen Smriti, sort of commit mistakes and get dismissed. But again, that's the case with Shafali as well, right? Because Shafali is like going all guns blazing. You have Smriti take her time and do her thing, but then again, we've seen a very Smriti 2.0 version, when she's batting with Pratika itself. He goes on to add that ideally would go for Shefali and Smriti, but if Pratika is fit, it would be really hard to count her out, right? The record she has broken in her very nascent, like young career so far is just, I don't know, man, unthinkable. So it's going to be, I think, again, problems of plenty for India in that regard if she is indeed fit. But the fact that she didn't play
Fit.
the WPL, again, I'm not sure what the mindset is there. But I think we sort of came to a consensus that Smriti Shefali is what would be India's ideal combination there. Somehow, I think in the middle of the conversation, we did pick India's playing 11. We'll just say it's problems for the management to pick because we have picked our playing 11 somehow with slashes and like dashes and all of that sort of happening there. But I think one last
Exactly.
part or segment of our discussion is the one-off test itself, right? Skipper Harmanpreet Kaur herself spoke about, wanting more test matches, craving for it. We as fans, I think, for the longest time have vouched for it, right? Again, like, do you have memories of the last time the two teams squared off in a test match? Again, down under, right? I think we go back a while, like 2023 or so.
2021, I think.
21,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, the pink
21,
ball
right?
test, right?
Pink ball test, exactly. Adelaide, huh? Was it Adelaide? I think it was, or was it Carrara? I think Carrara, huh? It was. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh my God. Like that match was a draw, but that was like due to rain and all of that, I remember. But yeah, I have more clearer memories of the last time we played a test, like in India, like because we won, of course. So, yeah, I mean, test match, though, yeah, like I think as fans of cricket itself, as the sport, like test is the best way to kind of see how players really play, how the nuances of the game are brought out in test, right? And I think players also feel that way, especially with how they're trained from a young age, and it certainly shows your quality as a player. Like it's the longest format, and yeah, like there are so many great things you can say about test cricket, and specifically I think India has always held their own in tests. I don't think that has been as much of a problem as the other two formats, like especially like the ODIs and the T20s. But I think India has always held their own in tests, and I think they will continue to do so, especially with this even more advanced batting lineup, like even a better batting, nuanced batting lineup. So I think definitely we are looking at some great things there. And what do you think about the test lineup? Do you think Pratika picks herself?
I knew you were going to ask that question, but before I answer that, I just wanted to quickly point out that India's record in women's tests is just unreal. Okay, the last time we lost a test was way back in 2006, and after that, we've only seen like a sea of draws. We've seen wins happen. I think 2023 is particularly one of those years where India is just doing incredibly well, right, in tests, and I think. We should definitely do an episode. If women's cricket should have like a WTC or more test matches in that regard. I'm sure there's like a lot of talking points we can come up to in that. But again, like you just asked for my thoughts on India's squad for the tests. I think it looks really good. Most of the names actually picked themselves up. I was quite surprised that there were a few omissions, like Shubha Satish, right, was there when India did play against competitive sides like England, Australia, back in 2023, but we don't see her being there. But again, I don't know, man. Like considering how less India plays, and in the domestic side of things as well, there's just the senior women's like that multi-date challenger trophy and all of that. The sample size is very small, right? So they probably want to prioritize like picking the more prominent faces. So I don't see any other reason why she was excluded. But again, like long answer short, I think India's test squad looks quite decent. Uma Chetri, right? Another very interesting pick there. Yeah, I think we can probably talk about that probably more as a backup keeper itself. Again, Aditi, if you had to like just deeper look into India's squad, if you had to do that, like how do you look at it?
I think, yeah, like test. When it comes to test, it's kind of like a whole different ball game, right? It suddenly becomes less about uh, how many runs you give away as compared to how many wickets you can take, how much of a strike bowler you are. Like in test, that's the most important thing. So I think we should go all out aggressive. And I don't even know for me, like if like bowling wise, I'm saying we should go all out aggressive. But I don't even know. The confusing thing for me is like whether Uma Chetri is the backup keeper in test or is she the main pick. Like I am conflicted about how Richa will perform in a test. Like I mean, uh, like she's used to power hitting, playing the shorter formats, and she's great at it, and she knows her role as a kind of finisher, power hitter, whatever it is. But in a test to sweat it out there, like behind the stumps, and keep up that energy, and then also come and bat patiently. Like I don't know if the temperament is right or whether she will be as great of a success, as great of a find as we have found in D20s and ODIs. Like even in the men's team, when you take a look at it, like we historically as well, we have had very different keeper batsmen in tests as compared to like ODIs and T20s. And I think uh, the reason that is because most wicket keepers come as have play that finisher kind of role. So yeah, I think for me it's a very contrasting opinion maybe, but yeah, I'm not sure if Richa would be my first pick for wicketkeeper batter in the test series. Yeah.
I find that a very interesting take because the way India's been using Richa Ghosh, right? She's like a starter in all of their playing 11s across formats, right? And to her credit too, she's done well in whatever opportunities she's gotten there. Uh, yeah, I mean a valid point of how India will shape that playing 11. I think again it's not going to be very different names. Most of the names pick themselves up. But if Pratika is fit in time, then does she make the cut over Shefali Verma, who's again had great returns in tests? Mind you, that double century versus South Africa. It feels like a lifetime ago, but did happen in 2024 itself, right? So again, happy problems for India in that front. But again, from an Aussie perspective too, right? Some very interesting additions, right, to their test squad. You had the likes of Lucy Hamilton being picked there. Again, like what does this say to you about their long-term planning itself? A very young star like this has come through the system, has played under 19 cricket, WNCL, made her debut, which is just like what 15, has played WBBL for so many editions. Summer challenge sorry, spring challenge, we just see her be there so often. So again, your thoughts on Australia's squad?
Again, I think there is always one player who comes up, one or two players who always come up whenever a series like this is played, who like outshine and kind of make a name for themselves. And Yeah, she has a like in a team full of greats, it's very rare that you get an opportunity. So I think, yeah, she will definitely be looking to make the best of it, especially given that she's so young and she might very well be given that opportunity. So yeah, and yeah, I think I hope that the test match is like a thrill, like it is a 5 day test match, which keeps us all glued. But yeah, I just hope it's a great contest between the two teams. So yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, in women's tests, it is not yet a 5 day encounter. Things get over in four. So, yeah, I hope it's like, an absolute cliffhanger like we sort of expect it to be. And I hope it's not a draw, man. We should have a win coming in that front. But again, do you think this could realistically be India's like best opportunity to secure like a first women's test win down under? And it could mean like a whole deal too, right? I know a lot of people don't take women's test cricket as seriously, but a statement win like this on Aussie shores again, something that can be considered.
Definitely. I think any win always gives you a confidence boost, no matter like any win in Australia specifically, even more sweet. So I think, yeah, I think definitely we should be looking forward to two teams giving it their all and kind of making a match out of things. And like we've never won a T20 series against Australia, so I am really looking forward to change that as well. And with respect to the test, one more thing which I think is I would put in both Shefali and Pratika and just make Pratika do a one down because yeah.
That's exactly what Hari Prasad went on to add that suggestion. But since Shubha isn't playing this test, how about slotting in Pratika at three? That way we could accommodate both of them. I think this was a line of thought that a lot of people were even pushing for in the ODIs too, right? Like probably drop Harleen, get rid of her entirely, and probably have this arrangement work out. A lot of teams have done that, right? In the men's side of things, Saurav Ganguly himself gave up that opening slot so you could have Virender Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar. In the women's side of things as well, Alisa Healy was like brought in right from down up to the order so could make room for other finishers and they could better utilize her. But I think, yeah, this is something they can
Think
absolutely
about for
definitely
sure.
consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, Aditi, almost as we reach the end of our discussion as well, any last and final thoughts? We have done pretty much a comprehensive preview, right, of this very exciting series. I hope the series also sort of lives up to its billing. But then, do you have any expectations or probably even a prediction? Yeah, let's actually get your prediction too.
Okay, I don't want to. Yeah, of course. My hope is that India win everything, but realistically, I think Australia in their home ground are going to be a very tough team to beat. And in T20s, I think they're still like two above par, like to kind of uh, like I would like to say that we can be sure of at least one win in the T20s. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I think Australia are very, very hard to beat, and especially on their home shores. Yeah, it might prove too tough of a challenge. But yeah, the way to go is to go hard, go aggressive, and try and put them under pressure. So yeah, and uh, yeah, ODIs, I think. It would be like a series leveler. Like after two matches, I think it will be one each, and then it will go to the decider. Let's hope so. And then the test, I think, I hope we, it's, though I hope it's an outright win, like you said, like for us, obviously, but I think most likely there are higher chances of, going for a draw, like instead of a, yeah, outright win. But yeah, let's see. I think T20Is will all go to Australia, ODIs will go to a decider, and Test series will most likely be a draw. Let's see. Let's revisit this after the series is over.
Yeah, I'm actually going to bookmark this and, like hit you up later and be like, Aditi, what are these predictions, man? Like, very interesting ones in that regard. But I agree with you. Like, it's going to be a definitely well fought series. I'd probably still give Australia the edge because this is their home conditions we are talking about. They are a beast, right, when it comes to that format. Unless they have like a few blips here and there, they still look like, the team that India is going to find quite the uphill task to defeat on home conditions. But yeah, folks, that pretty much does conclude our discussion as well. Aditi will join us for the rest of the T20 series as well. So we'll probably have a lot of our hot takes and predictions coming in there as we review matches as well. So it's going to be fun times. Aditi, thank you so much for joining me on such short notice. And we really had a great chat. Would have loved to see a lot more people join us in live chat, but I'm sure they'll catch the stream later. So make sure, guys, to comment and let us know what you make of the series. Are you excited? I don't see a lot of hype and promos, so to say, in like mainstream media. The focus entirely is on the India-Pakistan match. There's, I don't know, the whole broadcasters doing their whole Vande Mataram thing for that. The T20 World Cup itself. But the women in blue get started with their series against Australia tomorrow, and you can catch all of that on the respective sites that are streaming it, broadcasting it. But for all analysis and fun things, you will find it on Never in the Back Foot. So guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe to our content. But until next time, stay safe, take care, and bye for now. Thank you so much, Aditi. Take care.
Thank you so much, Neha. Had a lovely time.
Likewise. Cheers.